Hi guys, so let's talk about the difference between soft dramatics and soft naturals. So if you guys are still confused about your Kibbe body type, I do offer style consults and Kibbe body typing through my website as well as color analysis, so you guys can check out the links down below. Let's get right into it. In my previous video, Casual Looks for Dramatics and Naturals, I showed Priyanka Chopra on the left as an example of a soft dramatic. And some of you had some questions about why she is a soft dramatic, and I thought this would be a really good time to talk about the differences between soft dramatics and soft naturals, and also the similarities. So we have Priyanka on the left, soft dramatic, and Aishwarya Rai on the right, who is a soft natural. So let's talk generally about the differences and give some examples, and then we'll talk about these two ladies specifically and in depth. Let's get started with that. So here we have Monica Bellucci, who is a soft dramatic. She was originally typed by Ali R, and I completely agree. She is a textbook soft dramatic, so you can see she has some sharper bones there underneath some softness. Her cheekbones are pretty sharp, and her jawline is pretty angular, but she has some soft cheeks, she has some full lips, and she has some pretty yin eyes, a little bit slanted, and they are a little bit close together. For her skeleton, you can say the same thing. She has some yin flesh and some softness, but she also has some larger bones, and she looks a little bit tall as well, so she is a soft dramatic. It might be hard to see the sharpness in her skeleton and in her bones because of the softness of her flesh, but let's take a look at someone with a completely different bone structure to try to sort of calibrate ourselves and to train our eye and to make sure that we're all looking for the same thing when we're looking for those yang bones, and it can be especially difficult with the softness on top of them. So here we have Monica, soft dramatic on the left, and we have Jennifer Love Hewitt, who is a flamboyant gamine on the right. So you can see some differences in their bones right away. You can see that Monica's cheekbones are a lot less delicate than Jennifer's cheekbones. And you can also see that Monica's jawline is a lot less tapered in and a bit more angular than Jennifer's jawline. So you can see the difference in their bone structure that is underneath their flesh. Now when we compare Monica to Kira, who's a dramatic on Kibbe's list, you can see that they have some similarities in bone structure, but it's easier to see the sharpness in Kira's face because Kira does not have that softness covering her sharp bones, so you can see it very clearly. And you can see that those cheekbones they both share, and they also both share that sharp jawline, except it looks not as sharp on Monica because Monica has the soft cheeks, the soft flesh covering those angular bones. But that is why Monica is a soft dramatic. So now let's move on to soft natural. So Selena Gomez is a soft natural, and let's compare her to someone completely different. So you can see again that there are some differences. Selena's bones, her cheekbones are a bit wider, or they're really a lot wider than Jennifer's, and her jawline is also a lot wider, and her nose is wider, but Jennifer's nose is pretty angular and pretty prominent, so I would say Jennifer's nose is an answer A nose on the Kibbe body types test. So these two ladies definitely have pretty different bone structures, but now let's compare Selena, soft natural on the left, and Candice Swanepoel, flamboyant natural on the right. And you can see that they both have the wider cheekbones and they both have a blunt jawline, so that is that natural skeleton showing through. Now that we know what we are looking for, let's compare two ladies. One is soft dramatic and one is soft natural side by side. So we have Monica on the left, who is a soft dramatic, and Kat Dennings on Kibbe's list as a soft natural on the right. And you can see some differences right away. So you can see that Kat's cheekbones are once again a bit wider than Monica's, and Kat's jawline is pretty blunt there. It's not so sharp like Monica's jawline, but they also have some similarities. They have some soft cheeks, some full lips, and some pretty yin eyes. I tried to pick these two ladies because I think they do have some similarities, like the length of their face is similar, so you can really see the differences in their bone structure, hopefully more clearly. But now let's go on to our main example. So we have Priyanka and Aishwarya. So you can see now the same trend. So Aishwarya is a soft natural, so you can see she has the wider cheekbones, and her cheekbones are wider than Priyanka's. And Aishwarya's jawline, you can see, is more blunt. It has that blunt angle at the bottom, and Priyanka's Priyanka's jawline is more angular and more sharp. Even though Priyanka has a lot of softness covering her sharper bones, don't get fooled by that. That is the softness covering her sharper bones. It's not the bones themselves. You can really see the difference when you compare them side by side. You can see the width in Aishwarya's face that Priyanka just doesn't have, and you can also see that blunt jawline. Here's another example. So it's the same thing. You can really see the width of Aishwarya's cheekbones that Priyanka simply does not have in her cheekbones. Priyanka's cheekbones are more prominent and high, and they're covered by softness, but they're not wide. And in the same way, her jawline again is a bit more sharp, and Aishwarya's jawline is a bit more blunt. When Aishwarya smiles, you can really see the muscles in her jawline, but you can't really say the same for Priyanka. When Priyanka smiles, you really can't see that many muscles in her jawline. Even on the right, when she's smiling that much, she's laughing, you still cannot really see that many muscles there like you can with Aishwarya. So Priyanka really doesn't have any muscles in her jawline because her jawline is answer A. It's sharp, but it's not blunt and it's not muscular. It is a dramatic jawline, but it's covered by softness. So some of that that might look like muscle there. I don't think that's muscle on the right. I think that is more just because her cheeks are so soft. You really cannot see any muscles in her jawline, even when she smiles as much as she is on the right. And of course, when you compare them side by side, you can see that their muscles are different in their jawlines. You can't see Priyanka's, but you can see Aishwarya's. And you can also see, again, the width in Aishwarya's cheekbones that Priyanka just does not have. So we talked about their faces. Now let's talk about their bones and their bone structure and their bodies. Let's take a look at some general celebrity examples so that we can understand what we're looking for when we talk about a soft yang skeleton versus a sharp yang skeleton. And then we can compare these two ladies side by side again, just like we did with their faces. So here we have Rachel McAdams on the left, theatrical romantic with some shortish arms and legs, kind of dainty looking. And then we have Keira Knightley, dramatic, with some long and narrow arms and legs. So that is the dramatic skeleton there showing through. And then we have Brooke Shields, flamboyant natural, with the wide bones, but also long bones. So her arms and legs are answer B, soft yang arms and legs, wide and long. Now that we see the full spectrum of sort of arms and legs that could exist, let's take a look at some more soft dramatics. So we have from left to right, Sofia Vergara, soft dramatic on Kibbe's list, Rachel Weisz, soft dramatic on Kibbe's list, and Monica Bellucci, of course, soft dramatic. And the reason why I'm showing this example is to talk a little bit about, I guess, working out. And you can see that these ladies have pretty similar bones in the grand picture of things. They have relatively narrow bones, but I think from left to right, it goes from not doing a lot of weight training to doing a lot of weight training. And you can see that out of these three ladies, Monica has the most muscle on her, so you can see her traps there, and you can see her forearms as well being a little bit muscular. So that can make her bones look a little bit wider than they actually are. So I think it's so important to train our eye to really understand and to be able to see these dramatic bones, even if there is some flesh or some muscle on top of those bones. But you can see that in the middle is Rachel Weisz, where she doesn't appear to be having as much width as Monica, but she also doesn't look as thin-boned as Sofia. And I also think it's because Rachel kind of does in the middle for the weight training. She kind of does maybe not as much as Monica, but not as little as Sofia does. And of course, if you were to look at some very thin, tall, dramatic models, they would really look very thin-boned. And here we have now Monica really showing her true bone structure with some less weight training. You can really see those long, narrow bones. And when you compare her bones to Brooke Shields' bones, of course, you can see Monica's bones are really very narrow and very long. So they are dramatic bones. So now we have Monica on the left and Priyanka Chopra in the two images in the middle and on the right. And some of you were saying in the comments that you were confused because Priyanka looks like she has a lot of width to her. And I agree. I think both of these ladies look like they have some width to them. They look like they might have some width to their shoulders and even to their arms. But I think that that width is not because the bones are wide, but it's because the flesh is soft. And when you look past their soft flesh, you can see that their bones are actually not that wide. when Monica doesn't do as much weight training and maybe loses like 5 pounds or so, you can see right away her dramatic bones, her narrow bones, and you can see that she doesn't have as much width in her shoulders anymore. So it was really the flesh all along causing us to think that she has some width to her. And the same goes for Priyanka. So I actually had to double check this image on the right because I can't believe how dramatic, no pun intended, the difference is in the width of her shoulders and the width of her arms. But I don't think this is photoshopped. I think this is a real image. You can check it out yourself. And you can see that she doesn't have that much width in her shoulders there on the right at all, and she doesn't have that much width in the bones of her arms either, and you can see the sharpness of her shoulders there as well. So she is definitely someone with a dramatic skeleton. And here are 2 more images of Priyanka at a much lower weight, and you can see her dramatic skeleton pretty clearly. Again, it looks like her shoulders are not necessarily that wide and they are a bit sharper, and you can also see her long arms and they're also pretty narrow, and you can also see that her hands are answer A, they're pretty narrow and a bit larger. So she has a dramatic skeleton. When you compare Priyanka to Aishwarya, you can see that Aishwarya on the right, soft natural, has a bit more width to her still than Priyanka does on the left. And when Aishwarya loses weight, she still maintains that width in her shoulders. You can see there on the right, she looks like she's a pretty similar weight to Priyanka on the left, and they're both very thin, so you can see their bone structure clearly, and you can see that Aishwarya's shoulders are a bit wider for sure than Priyanka's shoulders are, and you can also see that her bones, Aishwarya's bones, are just a tiny bit wider in her arms as well than Priyanka's bones are. Here are 2 more images. They are kind of at similar weights, I would say, and you can see how much more width Aishwarya has to her shoulders and to her bones than Priyanka does. Here are some more images of Priyanka, and you can see on the left, you can see those narrow bones in her arms around her wrists, and they're also pretty long, and you can see on the far right that she still has the narrow bones and she has some angular bone structure, and she also has some angular shoulders as well, but they're not necessarily too wide. But you guys know that the whole point of this endeavor is to figure out the best lines for Priyanka and the best lines for Aishwarya. So I found some images of these 2 ladies wearing soft natural versus soft dramatic lines so that we can take a look. And I feel like this is the funnest part in my opinion, so I hope you will enjoy it. So here is Priyanka wearing primarily natural on the left and soft dramatic on the right. And I think that she looks amazing in both of these images. I think she is extremely beautiful, but I think that she is much better complemented by the look on the right in the soft dramatic glamorous hair and in that lightweight fabric. I think she just looks amazing, and I think on the left she also looks amazing, but I think that hair is just not glamorous enough for her. Here are 2 more images, so I think she once again looks better on the right with some soft dramatic hair and showcasing her long arms and legs there, and I think she looks amazing on the right. And I think on the left, she looks a little bit not put together. It doesn't look quite right on her in my opinion, and I think she looks much better on the right than she does on the left. So here are 2 more images. So on the left, I think she looks amazing. I think she looks amazing on the right as well. I think that both of these images are pretty good, but I think she looks ironically slightly less rehearsed on the right than she does on the left, which is pretty interesting because on the left it's supposed to be the one that is very relaxed and very carefree, sort of lounging type of a look, and I think she looks pretty good, but I think that kind of very relaxed look on her it looks a tiny bit separate from her, just a little bit. I think she looks really good though. I mean, I think she looks great there. But when you compare the next set of images, we have the same kind of trend. So I think she looks so amazing on the right. That is one of my favorite pictures of her. And you can see that she has some pretty well manicured hair on the right, and her bangs are pretty well manicured. And she also has that cape type thing that's a bit of a dramatic element. Of course, it's not a completely soft dramatic look, but overall overall it still has some soft dramatic elements and she looks amazing. And I think on the left, it's not really, I mean, she is gorgeous, but it's not really accentuating her unique beauty. It's not really magnifying her beauty the way that the look on the right does. And for the next set of images, we have again the same trend. So we have on the left a sort of soft natural image, or a natural image where she's very relaxed, and ironically she looks like she is kind of trying to look relaxed on the left. And this is just my opinion, and I think she looks great in both because again, she's very beautiful, but I think that on the right she actually looks more relaxed on the right, ironically, than she does on the left, because that kind of posing, that kind of outfit, everything about that on the right is just more natural to her than the look on the left. On the left, it looks like she might be trying to look relaxed, and it looks maybe a little bit rehearsed, but the opposite is true for Aishwarya. So when Aishwarya does this kind of slightly posed look and the more glamorous hair, then Aishwarya looks like maybe a little bit awkward, a little bit more awkward than Priyanka. I think Priyanka there, it looks like she's posing, but it looks like somehow it comes naturally to her to do that kind of posing, and that hair on Priyanka looks amazing. And I think the whole look on Priyanka looks amazing, and Aishwarya looks like she might be a little bit like not herself, or just trying to pose in a certain way. But of course, when Aishwarya does this more relaxed look on the left with some textures, and her hair is more textured and carefree, I think she looks absolutely magnificent. I love this photo of Aishwarya. She looks just like herself. She looks beautiful and just looks so amazing, and her beauty is magnified by those soft textures and the softness in her hair. So I think that looks so good on her. And another set of images, it's the same thing. I love this image on the left of Aishwarya. I think she looks so amazing. And on the right, obviously she's very beautiful. She looks a little bit rehearsed on the right, and you can imagine that if Priyanka did this kind of posing, it would look more natural to her. But for Aishwarya, she needs to do this kind of relaxed look with the relaxed hair, and that really magnifies her unique beauty. And here again, I really love that image on the left where she just looks very relaxed with the tousled hair, and she looks very unique. It's not very forgettable, that image on the left. I think on the right, she is clearly very beautiful, but she also doesn't look as unique as she does on the left. On the left, it's very memorable, it's very unique, and you can see that it's really her own type of look, I guess. That's the feeling that I get from it, and I think she looks so amazing on the left. But having said all of this, I really think that the reason why people are confused between soft dramatic and soft natural is because they really truly are quite similar in the grand picture of all the Kibi types. They both have yang bone structure, they both have yin flesh and yin facial features, and they both look good with some draping, so it might be difficult to even tell with clothing which one you are. But the same item, so let's say two ladies are soft dramatic and soft natural, there could be some items that look good on both of them, but that one item that will look glamorous on a soft natural is going to look very relaxed and carefree on a soft dramatic, even though they can share that item and they can wear it. Or of course, they also have items that they can't share. So when we take a look at these two images of these beautiful ladies, they look amazing, and they have flipped their style. So Priyanka is a soft dramatic wearing soft natural, and Aishwarya is a soft natural wearing some soft dramatic hair and lines there. And they both still look beautiful because, it's not like they're wearing soft gamine or flamboyant gamine lines. It's not extremely separate from them. They still have similarities, but I still think that they don't look their own unique selves in these two images. I think that there are so many beautiful women out there, and they are both extremely beautiful, but the thing is that they don't look as uniquely beautiful as they could in their own lines. When you take a look at both of these images, they almost look more similar to each other. I mean, not literally, but just metaphorically, I guess. They look like very beautiful ladies posing in a photo shoot, and that that's great. But it would be even better if their beauty was magnified by their own lines. When they wear clothing and pose in harmony with their own lines, they really look very unique in their own right. So they no longer look similar to each other, in my opinion. And some people will even say that, well, they look similar, and I've seen some people online say that they look similar to each other. But, I think they do look a little bit similar, but I think that when they wear their own lines, they look very different from each other and they look very unique and they each look more beautiful and their beauty is magnified by their own lines. It's sort of makes them more memorable and more unique. And I think that that's why I love Kibbe body typing so much. So that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions or comments or video requests, leave them down below. And if you are still confused by your Kibbe body type, then you can check out my website for some Kibbe body typing services. And I will leave a link down below to that. So thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next time.